So it does look like it, right? It does look like we're heading into a possible storm, right? I mean, we can't say, we can't guarantee anything per se because crypto is unpredictable and the markets are unpredictable. But actually, our good friend Elliot Trades had a very good video talking about this, talking about the possible upcoming stimulus package in the US and in Congress. And I think pretty much that could be one of the biggest factors to determine whether this bull run keeps on going, right? Whether we keep on having bliss. Because if a stimulus package comes and they basically print more money, that's one bullish for crypto because of QE and inflation and concerns and people basically having their wealth and the countries here in America, the economy just being devalued based on printing more money, right? So that would be bullish for crypto. Then the other bullish factor would be that's new money now coming into the economy, which comes into Wall Street, which comes into crypto, right? So adding more money, I think, is a win-win, right? So if that happens, we can continue the party, right? If there's no stimulus and we head into the election cycle, so based on what Bill said on the last live stream, pretty much September is typically a bad month. Then because Wall Street, basically institutional investors, they like to mitigate risk because if they're already up on the year, why go into the U.S. election and not know what could possibly happen, right? So basically, the idea is if Trump stays in power, if he wins a second term, we already know what's going to happen, right? Trump keeps taxes low, corporate taxes low, so corporate tax rate would be about 20%. So basically, we would just have a continuation of what's happened in Wall Street and the market. However, we would likely have even more social disorder in the U.S., right? so yeah, that's basically that, right? So what happened with George Floyd protests, we may have that times 2, or maybe even times 10. Now, if Joe Biden wins, what would happen is that's not typically good for Wall Street or institutions because based on what he said during his campaigns, he wants to change the corporate tax rate from 20% to as high as 37, maybe 40%. So basically, he wants to double the tax rate. And when you double the tax rate for companies, especially those that have to have profits and answer to investors, their profits go down, right? How much money they keep go down, right? Because they're paying twice as much in taxes if Joe Biden were to get elected, right? So that's kind of why Wall Street has kind of been hedging, right? Because if you've made gains, why pay twice as much in taxes, right? But anyway, but from my research as well, historically what happens, I believe, is when Republicans win, short term, the market goes up because they're typically conservative when it comes to fiscal policy and just Wall Street in general and low taxes. While long term, it might kind of tail off. But historically speaking, when Democrats win the presidency in the U.S., short term, the market, Wall Street, goes down, but after a while, it corrects and goes up, right? Because regardless of who's in power, though, long term speaking, the stock market goes up. Right, that's why stocks are a better investment long term than typically other asset classes, right? So long term, I think all of us would all be bullish on just stocks and even crypto as well. But yeah, so it's pretty tough because if we put the making money aspect aside and just look at what would be better for crypto in general, right? Because from speaking to our securities attorney, he thinks that pretty much the SEC and mainly Jay Clayton, right, who's who would likely not be in power anymore, right? So basically, there will be new infusion of new people into the SEC, and we could have a new chairman. Most likely, we will have a new chairman, right? Because he actually was supposed to go because he was he was appointed to a new post, but I think that in Congress have been having some issues with that. But in general, the premise is he has done a lot that has not been good for crypto, right? He's basically forced entrepreneurs to leave America to innovate, right? And Hester Pierce has come out being very pro crypto. So with the recent judgment the SEC issued for Unicorn, which was an ICO from 2017 that was backed by Mark Cuban, they basically had to pay a $6 million fine to the SEC and essentially shut down their operations. And Hester Pierce, who's one of the, basically she's called Crypto Mom. She's an SEC chairwoman. She came out and issued actually here. Let me see if I can get her statement, right? Because this is big. Let me see, Hester Pierce, Unicorn. Yeah, right. So this is her statement, right? She issued basically a press release saying that publicly, I do not agree with the SEC on this. I don't think they should have had to shut down, right? So this is her second time doing this. Very rare, I think, do you find somebody in the SEC publicly disagreeing with them and issuing out a public statement saying that they were wrong, right? So I think she also sees that there could be a changing of the guard, and she really wants to innovate, right? So thank God she has been appointed again for a second term. So we should have her, I believe, for another 4 years, I believe, or 2 years. I'm not sure. I'll leave that to the political people and attorneys. But in general, having her in the crypto camp is great. And if she's coming out like this and basically going against the entire SEC or basically her peers or the boss, she maybe sees something coming. Maybe she knows that these people are going to be cleaned out and other people who are pro crypto will come in. But the entire premise is, if Democrats win, that would be good for the SEC because new people would come in. And from speaking to our legal counsel, obviously they're just speculating, so just want to preface that. But they believe that the top Democrat security attorneys in the country they have a more positive stance on crypto, right, than the people Trump had in power, basically, right? Besides Hester Pierce. So if that happens, that would be positive for crypto from an SEC standpoint, crypto in the US, right? But in terms of crypto pricing, that's different. But anyway, that's kind of my take on that. Let me know what you think down in the comments below.